Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Lydia Tiller and I'm the Research and Science Manager for Save the Elephants Human-Elephant Coexistence Programme. So I'm based in Savo working with Dr. Lucy King and the Elephant and Bees research team. So I'm really excited to be here today to tell you more about Save the Elephants' work in Savo and some of its very special elephants here. Savo, where I'm standing here today, lies in the southeast of Kenya and is approximately 42,000 square kilometres, which is about the size of Denmark. Savo is a wilderness area with breathtaking landscapes and really incredible biodiversity. One distinct feature of Savo is its red, iron-rich soils, which makes the elephants here very distinct in colour. Savo is home to some of the last remaining great tuskers in Africa. So they are magnificent creatures, and their tusks are so huge that they literally touch the ground. This photo is one of Kenya's most iconic and well-known tuskers called Satao. So Satao was born during the late 1960s and was about 45 years old when he was sadly killed by poachers. Each of Satao's tusks were over 2 metres long and weighed over 100 pounds each. So we're working really hard to make sure that no more great tuskers get killed. Savo also boasts the single largest population of elephants in Kenya. In the last census that was carried out in 2017, we counted approximately 13,000 elephants. So this might sound like a lot of elephants, but not when you consider the huge numbers that used to exist. In the 1970s, Savo was home to approximately 45,000 elephants, but sadly poaching wiped out a lot of this population. The good news today, however, is that poaching is no longer the biggest threat to elephants, and this is largely due to the efforts from Save the Elephants and other organisations here in Kenya, such as Kenya Wildlife Service. Elephants are now faced with other serious challenges. Most notably, they clash with communities while trying to access food and water. As the human population increases, more and more habitat is being lost and fragmented. So this increases the demand for space and resources and leads to more competition between humans and elephants. Not only do our Savo elephants have to navigate through a maze of farmlands, but they have to work out how to cross infrastructures like crossing the busy Mombasa highway and the new railway line. These infrastructures cut right through Savo East and Savo West National Park, and elephants have to find the underpasses in order to cross. There are more mega infrastructures being planned in the coming years, so our elephant movement data is proving absolutely critical for landscape planning. In Savo, our project focuses on understanding these challenges, and one way to do this is to track elephants using GPS collars. So we can then start to see important wildlife corridors, the behaviours of crop raiding elephants, and understand other human-elephant conflict hotspots. In January 2018, a team of specialist vets, scientists, capture rangers, pilots and drivers travelled across the Savo ecosystem about 1,300 kilometres in order to collar 20 at-risk elephants. During the collaring operation, sadly we found that 9 out of the 20 elephants had spear or arrow wounds from conflict instances with humans. So I've studied human-elephant conflict for many years, but being on the ground and seeing the types of injuries caused by conflict firsthand really highlighted to me the extent to which human-elephant conflict is becoming an escalating problem. Luckily, we had a team of vets with us, and so they were able to successfully treat the elephants. One of the collaring locations was Lake Jipe, where I'm actually standing here today, and it's an absolutely stunning spot in the Savo ecosystem, and we're right on the border of Tanzania, so the hills just behind me are actually in Tanzania. So we decided to collar in Lake Jipe following reports of poaching in the area, especially from the Tanzania side. And we discovered during the operation that many of the elephant groups here were orphans left without matriarchs. One of the elephants who we collared here on the edge of Lake Jipe was a magnificent bull named Manolo. Manolo started to show really interesting movement and exhibited quite unusual behaviours. So this map shows Lake Jipe and the red lines show Manolo's GPS tracks. So you can see in the map that Manolo has a fairly wide range and he occasionally visits Tanzania. However, if we zoom into the map, we can see that Manolo has quite a favourite spot at the edge of the lake. We discovered through Manolo's tracking data that he loved spending time in the dense reed beds at the lake edge, often spending the whole day there in the cool waters feeding. I suppose on a hot day it must be very nice to be in the cool waters with your friends surrounded by your favourite food. We became really worried about how closely Manolo and his group were to people. Some of the houses are so close to the lake edge and the channels which the boats use to access the lake for fishing. So at the bottom you can see that Manolo is well hidden, so it would be very easy for fishermen to knock into him. In the evenings, after feeding on the reed beds for the entire day, Manolo and his friends would leave the reed beds and walk just meters past people. Sadly, elephants here have seriously injured people, and in one tragic event someone was killed by the elephants here. So this rang alarm bells for us, and we were really worried that this area was a ticking time bomb, with conflicts potentially escalating and more people being impacted by elephants and elephants being killed. Last year, our team from Save the Elephants spent time with the Lake Jipe community carrying out interviews and questionnaires to better understand the social and economic picture of the community here and to see how people were being impacted by elephants. We learned about the risks that school children take to get to school because of the elephants in the area, and learned about how the community here are living on the edge of poverty. There are many different ways in which we can help the communities here in Lake Jipe. Dr. Lucy King is now going to talk to you about all the different coexistence activities that we're doing on the other side of Savo for the communities there. But for Lake Jipe, our aim this year is to fund an elephant bus to help safely transport children to school. Over to you, Lucy.
Thanks so much, Lydia, and hi to everyone and our friends at WCN. It's so wonderful to be with you again this year and to tell you more about our Save the Elephants work down in Savo this time. It really is such a fascinating landscape, such a beautiful, vast area, but we do have so many challenges with human-elephant conflict, with all the different layers of livestock, farmers, development, agriculture expanding across the area, and most of Savo is unfenced, so we really are seeing an increase in conflict. Most of the problems that we're really helping with in this area are to do with farmers and small-scale farmers, and this past year, 2020, has just been so challenging. With COVID and so many people losing their jobs, a lot of the lodges are closed. Farmers have gone back to to grow agriculture and to grow crops instead, and we're seeing an escalation of human-elephant conflict, not only in Savo but across a lot of Kenya and Africa now, and this is a major concern for us at Save the Elephants. It's not just crops, but houses are also being broken into. People are storing their crops and maize and their seeds, water inside their small mud huts, and they're being broken into by elephants. It's absolutely terrifying, and we're seeing this more and more. Luckily, we've had good rains in the last 6 months, so we've had a little reduction in this in our community. But as we head into the dry season over the next few months, we're really worried about this actual farmer conflict in huts. The amount of damage that can be caused by these crop raids is really quite severe. And for farmers like Jennifer here, who's a single mother living in a really simple hut with no solar, no running water, and she's trying to look after 6 kids in this very small farm, it's quite tough to till these lands on her own. She's a single mother, as are a lot of the farmers who we support. And we're really trying to help her with ways to live better with elephants. And of course, one way is to build fences around people's farms, but fences, the kind of fences that farmers are able to build, are just not realistic for keeping elephants out. They are so ingenious at getting through these fences, and there's just a few photos here to show you how quickly elephants get through. So one of the main methods we've been working on for many years is our beehive fences. These are a series of beehives that we hang around small farms, interlinked with a simple piece of wire. And as the elephants try to break through, it causes the beehives to swing and release the bees. And we know from my research that elephants are really scared of bees. They can get stung around the eyes, up the trunk, in the mouth, and it really scares them, it hurts, and it keeps them away from farms. So we've been building beehive fences over the past 15 years. And actually just in the last year, we built an extra 20 beehive fences in Savo to support these farmers during this really difficult time. So thank you everyone who's supported and funded these beehive fences for us in the past year. They've been really critical, and we've been particularly helping single women farmers who needed extra support this year. And farmers like Tabitha, who've given her farm a whole boost, not only in reducing elephant visits, but in providing pollination services for the crops, and she's been able to harvest some honey for sales. We are finding a real challenge with climate change impacting the beehive fences for honey production. So we're now working really hard to try and think of new innovative ways of keeping the bees, boosting the pollination services that they provide. We also have designed and started a really interesting network of new deterrents to keeping elephants out. We're calling it the Hec Toolbox, and this includes such ideas like the smelly elephant repellent, which you can see here, which is the most revolting concoction of rotting chilies, eggs, cow dung, oil, neem leaves. We even put some onions in there, and it absolutely stinks. We ferment it for 4 weeks, and then we pour it into these bottles around the outside of the farm, and the smell just permeates. The elephants stay away. It's very, very cheap, and it's appropriate for farmers who aren't necessarily up for beehive fences or have very, very little income. So we're trying to work on these very cheap methods. We've also installed 4 very tall watchtowers across the whole front line of the community, and these were supported by some of our donors at WCN, so thank you for that support. Not only are the farmers using these to monitor where the elephants are, but we're getting KWS rangers coming in regularly to use them and helping them with their strategies. But one of the things we're really working on now is concentrating farming. So many farms are large, they're spread out of 5 or 6 acres. They're just impossible to protect against elephants if you have a very small budget. So we're working on expanding our permaculture project with these small organic farms. They're not even 1/4 of an acre, and they're producing way more food than farms with 2 or 3 acres because they're so easy to protect. A little bit of drip irrigation and totally organic. It's a really fantastic project, and this is where we're showing farmers how to grow non-palatable crops like chilies, which elephants don't eat. Chilies are really bad if you get it up your trunk, believe me. So we can also sell the excess easily to produce money, which can then buy food. We also have a very exciting project growing sunflowers. We discovered that elephants don't eat sunflowers, and they grow like weeds in the Savo soil. Within 2-3 months, you have a fabulous crop of sunflowers which can be harvested, either eaten or pressed for oil, or we're selling them as well in bulk. We have 129 farmers that have signed up to this project, which is really exciting for us. And finally, this plant called sisal, which produces a fabulous material which can be woven into baskets. And we've been training the women over the past couple of years to make these baskets as an alternative livelihood. And this group of women were so inspiring for us that we actually spent 2020 finishing the construction of a women's enterprise centre, a really fabulous building, which has provided a safe space for over 40 women to now develop alternative livelihood projects. And thank you to our donors who've supported this project. It's a really key way to show that you can live with elephants if you're given just that little bit of support. So these women have undergone sewing and tailoring workshops. They're now sewing our bee suits, which is very exciting, school uniforms, face masks. They made 720 face masks, which has kept COVID away from our community. We've also installed water tanks to help hand washing, and the women are now even starting to sew bee suits for the farmers, which is really cool. So we also really supporting our own team. At Save the Elephants, we have over 50% women on our project. We have a lot of support for our teams, and we really feel that we're leading the way in how to show that women can be bold and brilliant at leading conservation projects. So thank you so much for supporting us and for our capacity, because we couldn't have done any of this without you. And we're just hoping our women and our farmers who we're working with are going to help all of us live in better harmony with elephants for the future. Times are tough this year, so thank you for your ongoing support. We couldn't do without your help, and this year more than ever. Please keep supporting us. Thank you from everyone at Save the Elephants, and goodbye from all of us down on the Savo team.